All right, we just got through cleaning up the yard. It looks pretty good for September, and we're going to talk a little bit about Prodiamine and what it does and how it works. Prodiamine is a pre-emergent herbicide, 65% Prodiamine WDG, which is wettable dispersible granules that are weighed out and then are water dissolvable. How we're going to use it is just tank mixed and sprayed in the yard at the correct rate. The maximum rate for Prodiamine is 0.83 ounces by weight per 1,000 square feet per year. So we can split that up. Typically in the spring we do a 0.183 ounce per 1,000 square feet, which is the half pound per acre rate. And that'll give us about 2 months coverage. So we'll apply that as temperatures approach 50 degrees. Soil temperatures approach 50 degrees in the spring, which begins seed germination for a lot of our summer weeds. So we'll apply it, let's say February, March, and then about 45 or 50 days later we'll repeat the 0.183 ounce, which will give us about another 2 months of coverage. Roughly about 4 months of coverage, 3.5 or 4 months there in the spring. The remaining amount is a 0.46 ounces per 1,000 square feet that we can do in the fall. What we're doing in the fall is preventing broadleaf weeds and Poa Annua from germinating, and we're going to use the 0.46 ounces per 1,000 rate. That'll give us about 6 months of effective coverage. And we need to apply this when soil temperatures are approaching 70 degrees. And by giving the 6-month rate, we will cover the 70 degree down to the 50 degree soil temperature range, which is peak germination for Poa. So that's where we stand on that. And a little bit about how Prodiamine works. Prodiamine is a root pruner, as are most of the other pre-emergent herbicides that are all in the same class or group of herbicides. Root pruners. What does that mean? Once you apply the Prodiamine to your soil, it must be watered in. It has to get down to the soil level for it to work. There it forms a vapor barrier. That vapor barrier allows the seed to germinate, and that's when it begins to work. It then affects the plant by stopping cell division at the root level, therefore pruning roots, killing the plant, and stopping the metabolic cycle of the plant life. So I believe that's about it for Prodiamine. Again, we need to follow the label. The label is the law. Also, PPE, I believe it was gloves, sleeves, and I think it was a mask. I'll have to go back and look, but it's always good to wear rubber boots, rubber gloves, a protective suit, and or long sleeves, long pants, and in a lot of cases it calls for a mask or eye protection. I believe this one was eye protection. So you want to apply it on a day that the wind is not blowing very much, so you don't get any drift. However, I'm not too concerned about that today, since I'm just applying it in the lawn, and any drift will hit my flower beds. And my nozzle is a coarse spraying nozzle, which allows a larger droplet to make contact with the ground a lot faster than a fine mist that would float in the wind a small distance maybe. So we're going to go mix up the Prodiamine. How do you mix up Prodiamine? How do you mix it, weigh it out? And the answer to that would be, you need to get a kitchen scale, a small, basically a digital scale that you can weigh your granules out on for however many square feet you are applying it to. add it to your tank mix of water, and we're going to apply 1 gallon of tank mixture per 1,000 square feet. That way we get a more even coverage and more effective application. Remember, Prodiamine has to be watered in within 14 days. The longer you wait, closer to the 14 days, the less efficient it'll be. Your efficacy will be much lower. Once I get done with my lawn at some point here soon, I'm also going to spray my flower beds. That's going to be mainly a test for future seasons to see how effective it is in the flower beds. Some beds have like a mulch in it, and other beds are just natural with no mulch. It just has leaves and pine straw and other organic items that have started to decompose. Some of them just have, I'm getting ready to show you one right here, just a lot of dirt. I have so much bed area that I'm just having a hard time keeping up with trying to get mulch and put it in there. But next year I'm hoping to take this front flower bed. We'll probably remove all the plants out of it minus the dogwoods and the big trees. May add some dirt to it, level it out, then come back in, plant whatever plants I want in it, and then mulch it, and it will look like $1,000,000. So there's a lot of small things like that that you can do to make your lawn pop even more. So don't forget, the around July 4th we start losing daylight on a daily basis. The days get shorter, and as the days get shorter, it's triggering a hormonal response in the plant, and that response is for it to start storing carbohydrates in the roots in preparation for dormancy. Now once it does that, carbohydrates are stored energy in the root and in the rhizomes, and what that does is it's the energy source that the plant uses to emerge from dormancy in the spring. So we want that process to take place, and in the fall we don't want to push a warm season grass too much. You're forcing growth while the plant's trying to do its natural thing, which is prepare for dormancy. We all want a beautiful lawn up until first frost when it starts to turn colors, but its natural progression is it's gonna lose some green. It's gonna get a little more pale as it's storing its carbohydrates. It's transferring a lot of that energy and carbohydrates and sugars from the leaf blades down to the root and rhizome. Hang on, let's go take a look at this Prodiamine. We'll talk about the cost and the rates again. Alright, we're going to start over again since I screwed up the first time. So we have our scale with the tray on it zeroed out, and what we're going to do is take my drawing here of the yard where I've already pre-measured out my square footage, and we're going to be applying our first dosage to 10,000 square feet, which is all of my front yard and my side yard where my shady lane is. So we're going to come in here, so remember your gloves when you're touching your dry. And once we mix this up, we'll go full PPE with sleeves, eyewear, gloves, and rubber boots. So we're going to go ahead and mix this up and apply it to the yard. We have a couple gallons of water in here. Now we will we'll add the rest of the 8 gallons or so to get us 10 gallons of carrier and product together to apply over 10,000 square feet. We're just going to spray this with as little overlap as possible because we don't want to over apply in streaks, since there is a calendar year maximum limit of 0.83 ounces. Remember, 0.83 ounces by weight per year on the WDG is the let's call it the legal limit, and we're going to be applying 0.46 ounces by weight per 1,000 right now. And in the spring, we're going to do a split application, which is 2 applications of 0.183 ounces, roughly 45 or 50 days apart, and that'll give us a total of about 4 months of coverage. Now, this one application of 0.46 is going to give us about 6 months of coverage, and we'll cover the entire range, soil temperature range of 70 down to 50 degrees, which is the peak germination range for Poa Annua, which is really what we're targeting here. And since that is the predominant and worst weed that we can have, at least in my yard, that's what I'm going after. Prodiamine does not do a great job against broadleaf weeds. However, it does have some efficacy, and if you choose, you can use 2 different pre-emergents, not at the same time, because they're in the same group of herbicide, which are root pruners. So what you want to do is maybe in your spring app, since Prodiamine is fantastic on summer weeds like crabgrass, maybe use your split applications in the spring a little heavier. Rates can vary. You can change it up if you have a worse crabgrass problem. In the spring, you can go heavier there and then lighter in the fall, or you can use a different pre-emergent in the fall. However, some of the pros and cons of Prodiamine has an excellent cost factor, excellent longevity factor. It's active in the soil for an extended period of time. It does not work well with broadleaf weeds. And for example, I bought the Prodiamine 65 WDG online for $67. Now that's enough to give me 1 full year's application on 96,000 square feet. So if I only apply this to my turf, I've got 4 full years of applications in this one jug for $67. Now I'm also going to apply, I'm not going to apply it, I'm also going to provide you a link in the description on where you can buy this in the large jug, which is 5 pounds, or in a smaller container for about 20 bucks. And that one small container does about 5,000 square feet, I think, for a year. So I have to go back and look at that, or we can look at the label later. And that's it. We're going to apply this, and we do have to water it in. Remember that. You have to water it in. The sooner the better. The better the efficacy will be, the earlier you water it in. So here we go. I'm just going to fill this up. I think we're just about done here. Hang on, and we're going to just finish this out real quick. You need to get it down now before your soil temperatures hit in the low 70s. Around that 70-degree mark is when your peak Poa germination begins. However, if you have shady areas or more moist areas, or if you're using in-ground, like a well irrigation, that water is going to be cooler. So if you apply it, maybe I don't know, maybe it's changing the surface soil temperature just enough for these weeds to germinate. So maybe your shady areas will germinate before your sunny areas. Anyway, you want to get this down as your soil temperatures are touching the low 70 marks. So anything under 75 degrees, remember you have 6 months of coverage with this application. So I'm not worried about getting it down 2 or 3 weeks early. It's a hell of a lot better to get it down early than it is a week late, I'll tell you that. So let's fill this up and get going. Alright, since we're losing some color in the lawn this time of year, and my neighbors want to use the blower when I'm making a video, that's cool. I knew they were working in the yard when I started. I'm going to add a product called Feature. It's a 600, and it is stable with herbicides and fertilizers. And what this is 6% nitrogen, 1% magnesium, 8% sulfur, 10% iron, and 2.5% manganese. And what all of those do is promote chlorophyll and make a darker color. This really should not it should not cause a lot of growth in the plant. So we added a little bit of this into the mix, so it's going to change the color of our mix. So here we go, we're going to put that in here to just help with the color. I don't know, we'll find out later if I messed up, but I think we'll be fine with this. Just give it a good mix. Remember, you can go to like Harbor Freight or somewhere and get one of these paint mixers for a drill for like $3. Works great for mixing your tank. Alright, so I'm PPE'd up. A lot of you may feel this is being over cautious. However, the label is the law, and we should all be expected to follow the label. And if you're not responsible. That's it, plain and simple. So everyone has to take safety seriously, no matter how serious you think it might be. So rubber boots, sleeves, rubber gloves, and I believe it said eyewear. So I've got that covered. We're just going to go spray this out. The feature product is applied at 1 pound per acre rate. So that was just tank mixed in, basically like a quarter bag for the 10,000 square feet. I mean, that's close enough, and I'll do the same for the other roughly 10,000 square feet. So you saw me mix it, we talked a little bit about it. Look, put some questions down in the comments, and let's talk about it. And let's get these yards weed free for this winter. Let's get this Poa knocked out early. And my next video, which will probably come out this weekend or next week, we're going to be talking about what you should be doing to prep your lawn for dormancy, and some of the steps we can take over winter in the off season to improve and amend and do the things that need to be done during that time. Alright, we're wrapping it up. Got it applied. I still got one little section to do. I'm not going to bore you with any more spraying. I am out of breath because I'm fat and overweight. But, man, I just cleaned the leaves up back here like an hour or two ago. So frustrating. Anyway, remember, it's a per calendar year maximum of 0.83. So if you didn't apply any this spring, you could possibly go a little heavier this fall, and your calendar will start over when you make your spring application. Or you can go with a different pre-emergent this fall that may do a little better, like Dithiopyr may do a little better with your Poa, whereas Prodiamine is predominantly better with Crabgrass. However, it is still effective on broadleaves and Poa, just not as good as Dithiopyr. So you can still use Dithiopyr this fall if you want to. Just remember the calendar year maximum. Wear your PPE, even though you look silly. My neighbor's already commented on it, and you know, he even said better safe than sorry. I put out the feature 600 at the ½ pound per acre rate, and we're going to look and see if this turf bounces back a little bit with its color. This backyard here has really been drained by the color. The front yard is still dark and beautiful, but I'm going to show you some places right here in the backyard that of what I'm getting. I'm not sure what it is, but it happened last year too. All right, here we are in the backyard, And you can see patches. It's not really patches, it's the entire lawn that is just full of dead leaf tissue. Like it thrived. It got super thick this summer. And I don't know if it was drought that caused it or what. Make sure you look down into the video description and check out the links I put in there. Do not feel obligated to use my link to purchase anything. It's there for your convenience, to follow along with what I use and how I use it. I'm having great success. There are lawns out there that look better than mine. Can't dispute it. I don't know what they're doing, but more power to them, and I'm happy for them. And send me some tips of what you're doing if it's better than mine. Anyway, I hope what I'm sharing with you is beneficial. So tune in next time. We're going to have an interesting one. It'll be probably a quick video. So make sure you subscribe. Leave me a comment. Please leave a comment. I love it. I like responding to you guys. If you have a question, man, just shoot it out. We're all here to learn and make our lawns better. Stay green.